What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of Heavy Weapon Concepts, and today we're going to be showcasing off a very unique minigun, the Ququmannz Wrath. Now, if you're thinking right now, this weapon looks kind of familiar, you might be right, as the Ququmannz Wrath was originally planned to be released in a community update known as the Mine Update. It even got its own cameo in a winglet video called The Mine Project, and I'd have to say, it looked quite amazing in this video. But believe me, this weapon is much more than just a nice looking prop. You see, every now and then, the Heavy gets a weapon that comes with a really cool side effect at the cost of doing less damage. Take for instance the Natasha. The Natasha has a really cool side effect of slowing down enemies at the cost of dealing about 25% less damage. Or you could take for instance the Huo Long Heater, a weapon that deals around 10% less damage, but allows you to deal much more damage if you can catch an enemy on fire. Well, the Ququmannz Wrath will be a similar type of weapon, except this weapon wouldn't come with any damage nerf and would still come with a very interesting side effect. Intrigued yet? Well, then let's take a look at the stats. So to start things off, on kill, the Ququmannz Wrath places a curse on all nearby enemies. The curse can be seen in-game as a small, green-colored explosion that reaches out a few feet all around a downed enemy and highlights any enemy it touches in purple. As long as nothing is interrupted, this curse can last up to 8 seconds, and while cursed, enemies will take 20% more damage from any type of damage your team deals them. Not only that, but upon kill, the Heavy will receive up to 50% health back. This means that the Heavy would be not only more deadly, but could potentially even be more of a tank than normal. Now, these would make for some pretty insane upsides and would surely make Heavy way too powerful without some nerfs. So, now let's check out the downsides. So first off, while equipped, the Heavy himself is 20% more vulnerable to any type of damage. So although this Heavy may hold one of the deadliest weapons in the game, he'd also be more likely to die himself. Secondly, if an enemy kills one of your teammates while under the curse is instantly dropped from that enemy. And lastly, if a player survives the curse, any extra damage that the enemy took from the curse will be returned. In other words, say the enemy took an extra 50 damage only because they were under the effects of the curse, well, as long as they survived the 8 seconds or killed a member of your team, all 50 health would be restored. So this was an interesting weapon to play with. See, at first I was a little worried that the added curse effect would make the weapon a little bit too OP, considering how many enemies could be hit with the curse at once, but after playing with this weapon a few times, I gotta say, I didn't quite feel that in-game. Sure, the weapon has its moments where it certainly pays off, like this one time when I was approaching the enemy team on Brazil and they were all clumped together on the point. The enemies were close enough that the curse could actually reach them, and then once that spread, it certainly made them all easier to kill. But besides instances like this, part of the problem was you just don't always run into clumps of players like that. And because of this, the special effect doesn't always seem to pay off, especially since you're now 20% more vulnerable to any type of damage. You can maybe get away with it with a medic, but besides that, it's quite risky. So although it does have its golden moments, it also does seem a bit situational and certainly does make it easier to kill you at times. So would I have any potential fixes for this weapon? Well, no, not really any fixes, but maybe 2 ideas. I do think returning health to any players that survive the curse could be removed. I mean, I'm sure it'd feel nice for those players to get all that health back, but I'm not sure it's really needed for the balance of the game. And as far as the 20% damage vulnerability goes, I think if the creators wanted to, they could switch this out for more of a Huo Long Heater type trade-off, where instead of the Heavy being 20% more vulnerable to damage, the Heavy could just deal 10% less damage with this weapon until the curse reaches other players, in which case Heavy could then deal those players an additional 25% damage. But to me, that'd be more like a pick your poison situation rather than a fix. So overall, I actually really like this weapon, and I think it could potentially be left as is. But anyways, that about wraps up this episode of Heavy Weapon Concepts. Let me know in the comments section below and if you think this weapon would be fair and wouldn't cause any issues in current day TF2, or if you think this sounds terribly broken and would totally cause chaos all over our servers. Honestly though, I do really think this is a cool idea for the Heavy and would love to see it in the game someday, and hopefully you guys agreed. So anyways, I hope you liked the video, and until next time, this was Big Joey! Later.